Hi, everyone. Welcome to our July webinar. I'm going to give everybody just a minute to join, and then we'll get started. All right, welcome everybody to our webinar. Just a couple of reminders for you here at the beginning. If you would like to use captions for today's webinar, there's an option to do so at the bottom of your screen. So you're welcome to turn those on. And then another reminder for you that throughout the webinar, we would love for you to submit any questions that you have, and we'll be answering some of those at the end in a little Q&A session. So please submit all of your questions. Throughout the webinar, you'll see a little Q&A button at the bottom of your screen where you can do that. And then just a disclaimer that this educational session is not intended to provide medical advice. And then just a couple quick reminders about things that we've got coming up at Mission MSA. Next month, our webinar is going to be an advocacy update with our CEO, Joe, and a couple of folks from the Health and Medicine Council. So definitely join us for that. You can find the registration link on our website and on our social media. And then for MSA Connect, we have a really exciting announcement about that coming up next month. So stay tuned for that. And with that, thank you all for joining us today. I am going to pass it over to our speakers for today and let them introduce themselves and take it away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ella. I'll share my screen. Thank you, everyone. Give me a second. Let's see if I can do this properly. Can you see my screen? Okay. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, great. Again, thank you, Ella. Thank you for the opportunity to present this webinar. The main goal today is to share our experience on how we can live better at home with the MSA, because as the disease progresses, it also poses greater challenges for our loved ones, for ourselves, but also for the carriers, as the places that we live in are not adapted sometimes and don't adapt to the changing body as the disease progresses. But there are actions that we can take to improve our lives. Small step and small changes can make a big difference. So who are we? I'm Enrique Blanco. I'm an architect. I've been working on human-centered environments that promote autonomy and emotional well-being for a few years. I'll pass it over to Belen to introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you, Enrique. Thank you so much, Sela. I am Belén Pérez Pujason, PhD architect and researcher in sustainable technologies. I am lead accredited professional and international standard for green building that belongs to the US Green Building Construction Institute. I currently work at Minsight, a global technology consulting firm based in Madrid. And well, it's a pleasure for me to be here today, and thank you all for joining us. And many thanks to MSA Mission for the opportunity to share our insights and contribute to this important initiative. Well, we will explore how living spaces can be adapted to give support to people with MSA. The session is divided into two key parts. First, a conceptual framework, and then a practical case study, which will allow us to connect the ideas with real-world applications. We began by sharing the vision behind this work, how to adapt living spaces for MSA. Then we will review the key stages of MSA disease, the core needs impact by MSA, and the environmental design principles that respond to these needs. In the second part of this session, we will dig into a real case study, which includes understanding the phase of the disease, the identifications of both current and potential environmental risks. We will see physical barriers and hazards. And finally, a plan for current and future environment, where we will summarize all the design and solutions focused on persons' needs. As a reference of our presentation today, at the left, at the left of your screen, you can see Akoya Greenwich in Sydney, an inspiring example of environmental design that includes natural integration, accessibility, and sensory components.
So, thank you, Belen. So I guess the why environmental design, why is important, how can we do to improve the life with people with MSA? That this is really particularly hard on the body, because as we know, with MSA the body experiments changes over time, and the world is not designed to cater for it actually. So it's a long way, and part of our mission should be to change that, actually change the environment, so it's universally adapted to everyone. This is we're still a long way from that, because it needs requires some adjustments to policy and planning, but it has a huge impact on people's quality of life. That's many times people with MSA suffer stigma, as it's a rare disease and is not well known. It is really the time to raise awareness, as MSA mission is doing, and we want to assist with this small contribution. I guess that we believe it could be helpful. As my experience, I have personal experience with MSA through the eyes of my mom. Like 15 years ago, she was diagnosed, misdiagnosed first, but it was diagnosed finally with MSA. We work on adapting her environment, just basically the house, outdoor areas, and the city was a little bit more difficult, obviously. And then we went through it. And the idea was the main idea at the time was to keep her active as long as possible, so get the muscles as active as possible, and so we could keep her agency, independency, keep her independent as long as we could. And obviously, it's a big effort when you have the disease, but just to make her environment easier for her was a big a watershed moment. So environmental design, we believe that it's a positive contribution, but just imagine, imagine that we live in a very cold room that you have to stay in, how would that impact your well-being? Or imagine a room with no windows, so everything is dark that you have to live in. and how would that impact your mood with the lack of exposure to natural light. So this is a simplification, but this is what environmental design is. So these extremes that we understand that it's going to impact our health, and put yourself in that situation, then from there we can understand that there's some things that we can do: access to natural light, access to natural ventilation, right orientation, accessible environment that is going to improve your life at the same as the lack of those elements would make your life harder, right? I'll go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is a beautiful slide from Mission MSA. The first two stages on the with depicting the 4 stages of MSA. So the first 2 stages, the mobility is still possible, and the third stage we start having we start needing walking aids. We believe it's important to keep people with MSA as physically active as possible, so they can be independent for longer, living a much better life. And environment like our homes, they have physical barriers and risks that they jeopardize the aspiration of independence and agency, which are core needs. Yeah, so this next slide, those core needs, we would like to talk about, what those core needs that are impacted are in our view. So the main one, or the first one, is the agency. So our ability to live our life independently. That's and the other is could be a dignity when we started having a lack of comfort. The other is connection and even belonging, when the decay of the body of people with MSA start prevents from connecting or with the spaces, but also with people. So what can we do, or what the research says that there's some evidence-based solutions or situations that elements that could help us to improve our mood, our well-being, even reduce stress. For instance, in terms of comfort, in the natural light, natural ventilation, sensory stimulation. So we know there's research around the reduction in cortisol levels, decrease in the risk of developing long-term depression. So also an adapted environment, improve cognitive function. So we know exercise can improve memory. Connectivity or socialization is quite important, and access to nature of we call it biophilic design, but access to outdoors and nature decreases up to 25% of the stress. So based on, I'm not going to go in detail through this, but based on research and evidence-based solutions, we can come up with some environmental design principles in response to those core needs. We have core response areas. So with the lack of agency, we want to put some accents in mobility. Actually, this webinar is more focused on the mobility and accessibility aspect. So in design principles in terms of mobility, we have adaptive design or mobility enhancing solutions. So we need to understand our environment. We will go through it, but we want to provide an obstacle-free circuit, indoor, outdoor, and we want to future-proof the environment in terms of comfort, improve natural light, natural ventilation, and sensory stimulation areas as well. So those those small changes can improve greatly our comfort. And also when it comes to connectivity, so a sense of belonging and connectedness to the outdoor areas and to nature. So there's some things that we could do. From a technology point of view, Belen is gonna talk about that. Over to you, Belen.
Okay, let's talk about how technology can help to create these environments at home. When living with MSA, 3 things matter most from a technology point of view: independence, safety, and real-time assistance. At the left, we can see how technology solutions and functionalities are oriented to achieve these needs. First, the smart home spaces with automated components for daily support. For example, automated doors, automated windows, lighting, even furniture like beds. These can be very powerful tools managed by AI platforms available in the market that we all know, like Alexa or Google Home. And then the functionality of remote monitoring of this integrated platform by wearables or like Apple Watch or sensors like BioBit. They allow real-time tracking of sleep, number of falls, medication, etc., etc. These devices are linked to platforms that support communications between the person living with MSA and clinicians or caregivers for real-time response. And finally, related to how patient data is managed, these platforms allow to collect and to centralize the data about symptoms, diaries, and other parameters, helping families and clinicians make more informed decisions. This ensures continuity of care and reduce human errors or delays. Its solution or functionality here is directly maps to a goal in the right of the slide. Smart automation is related to independence, sensors and alerts are related to safety, and finally, connected platforms allow us real-time support. Well, in this slide, we can let's look at technologies available in the market, technologies that make everyday life safer and smarter for people living with MSA. From left to right, at the top of the slide, we can see a solution that automates existing blinds in windows. It's solar power and controllable by your smartphone or your voice. A simple and powerful way to adjust light and privacy through our windows. Next, a smart lighting system like the one referenced in the picture allow users to adjust light levels by voice or remotely, improving safety and comfort for people with MSA. At the right, we can see a smart walker. It includes obstacle detections. It empowers users with a safer mobility and throughout it associated app. It allows better data collection, and it is able to register movement patterns, which is critical, we believe is critical for clinicians and caregivers. At the top of the slide, at the bottom, sorry, smart shoes like Nususus can monitor movement through the space in real time. This helps prevent falls and gives valuable insights into mobility decline without disrupting daily routines. Through the app link to this smart shoes, a person with MSA can be precisely located within the home in case of a fall or if they find themselves in a situation requiring immediate assistance. And finally, the technology developed by Vital Connect consists on a wearable patch that continuously tracks vital signs, and it alerts clinicians when something's off, turning basic care into proactive, allowing again a real-time response. All these are smart, scalable tools available in the market. They don't just support independence, they enable early action, reduce risks, and bring care into the everyday environment.
Oh, thank you, Belen. So this is one example that this is in Sydney. It's been work development recently completed a year ago that I had the pleasure to work in. And the whole design, we want to bring it because there's some design principles applied to this development is fully accessible and adaptable, but also has some biophilic principles, which is creating this a seniors living development with opportunities for social integration, and they have built a lovely community. I mean, this is, I guess, state of the art. But the principles are the same. It doesn't matter if it's a house or is a tower. Principles are the same. So using biophilic design as or using we be applying also natural light and ventilation to all the apartments. Also, as I said, we have accessible kitchens, bathrooms, and everything is accessible. But there's also a degree of social interaction and from public to private. So we introducing choice into the development to the spaces that you want to be with or share with family and friends or just private. But I won't go in detail into it, but we the community they were really lovely and we conducted a survey, a well-being survey, to try to understand if those design principles could improve their well-being. And there was a well-being change from their previous. They moved in a year later. There was a well-being change. To 12 surveys that we did, there's 11 had an improved well-being. Then from their previous home. Then how do they feel or when they are at their when they are home? So most of them, they feel relaxed, and then which was really nice to hear. The options are relax, energized, neutral, or better or worse. So the top priorities were to where are the areas, what was most important for them is social connection, location, amenities, or the design of the building. So social connection will rank number one. Then value features. Obviously, there's some common areas that are adapted for everyone. So it's over 55 people living here. They from people. We could find people living with dementia, but also more independent. So there's a good test for the building. So yeah, you have the most valued areas with the common areas, but the first one was the apartment because the apartment was adapted. It was really different to to where they used to live in with all those physical barriers. But you can see the quality of the spaces. That's the lounge area. That's the rooftop. Some areas to share with the rest of the community. I mean, that's a really nice swimming pool over the city. This is in Sydney, but there's, and this is one of the apartments. Really nice views, where that's the state of the art. But it's how do they describe or the experience living with those the small changes or adaptations that we can make to our environment. Again, it doesn't matter where we are, but it can definitely improve how we feel. So we wanted to bring the next or the second block of the presentation, having that in mind, a real life example. And in this case, this is using personal experience. So how when my mom was MSA, we had to adapt the family home, and we thought it's probably a good, good example to share with everyone. In this real case study, we want to explore how to adapt the physical environment for someone with MSA, and the objective is to make the home safer, more functional, and aligned with the person with MSA needs over time. So we can come up with some methodology based on that. Oh, that's down here. My mom, when she was independent, down to when she was on a wheelchair. So what we learn is that it could be a methodology that could help everyone to first in 3 steps. So 3 simple steps. First is understanding where we are when we have MSA, what stage where we are in, and with the help of the clinician and your doctor, and assess the level of independence. So when we tackle the changes to your home, when you tackle the changes to your home, so how can you adapt it? You have that in mind, and then the second stage would be the assessment of existing and future risks of that environment, of the home in this case study. But because what we have now, so we want to spend money on things that are going to change in the future, or we need to cater for the future as well. So it's very expensive to change your home, and so we need to be aware of how the body is going to change, what the needs are going to be. So everybody's so we can spend the money wisely, and then plan for current and future environment, which we put a plan in place. So at this stage, we need this, but maybe in the stage 3 or stage 4, we're gonna need some other things. So that so it's to make it more useful. So based on those core needs, those 3 core needs, and the response, so we came up with a checklist that everybody can use at home. So for instance, an adaptive design, when we're adapting our home, what stage am I in terms of mobility? I think that's one thing that we need to assess. Then the assessment of barriers and risks. So do I have steps, stairs, are there highways? I'll explain that in a minute. Junctions in the home, I'll explain that concept too. Isolated barriers like racks. Then the second, do we have a path of travel to navigate the home? What supporting aids do we need? Furniture relocation strategies. Then how can we future-proof our environment if we were independent, or we still we need a wheelchair? Then specific areas like bathroom or kitchen. Kitchen is a bit more complex, I guess. So I won't get into kitchen today. We won't get into that. And then these other elements that, as we saw before, that are gonna improve the quality of our, or improve our mood, yeah, and the quality of the spaces, which is very important, and a comfort, which is natural light. Can we relocate the bedroom? Natural ventilation, thermal comfort. Do we have enough natural ventilation into these places? Do we have adequate thermal comfort? Depending on the stage, because it's not the same as if we're independent, or we're mobile, or we're in a wheelchair, or in a bed. So then, can we introduce sensory stimulations, natural elements, and a material safe, because we could spend some more time at home, right? With MSA. So do we have our living areas have adequate orientation? Do we have 3 hour sunlight? That's pretty much a good indicator. Or do we have adequate noise level for rest areas, things like that? And then in terms of connectivity, can we introduce some biophilic design, which we know it has benefits to our health? Biophilic elements, access to indoor, outdoor living areas, nature inspired materials, colors, textures, even artificial, they have an effect. Can we see the sky from resting position? So it's just little things that we can do that are going to improve our lives. And then when it comes to community socialization, so there's another important component. With sometimes with MSA, at some point, if we lose some, or have the feeling, or remember that with my mom, so she didn't want to have visits over sometimes. She didn't feel like yeah, at some point it's not something that she felt that we can feel like the dignity is compromised somehow. And I think you want to be able to navigate your space comfortably, and that could help if we relocate things in the living area, so we can still have not only yeah, we have a longer time with our friends and family. And I think in technology that can help, as Belen was discussing, that we can apply technology to all those 3 components. That's a very as a checklist for everyone to tick the boxes and see what can we do about the home. So this is in this example, that was an interpretation of my family home, and this is that was my mom. So this is where they live, where we live, and there was some bringing it so we can understand the challenges and the solutions. So that's the entry. This was a level 1 where they live. We live in a level lower ground, I guess. So that to get to the lobby, so we had some stairs coming up. This is the entry gate with a threshold, the entry lobby, which was very generous. So and then some other steps to get to the living, and then they have their master bedroom on this side. So the orientation, that's the north hemisphere, so the sun was coming from this side, and then the bathroom is on the other side of the house in this level, and the kitchen as well. So there was some distance, some journey, so you can get to familiarize a little bit with the house. So to understand the risks, so we would like to show what a day in the life of someone living in that house could look like. So first is learns no small journey with MSA. So going from one place to another, it takes some work, but it's also a compounding risks of falls, because that's the in all the areas. If along the day you can find, yeah, the risk gets to add. So so it was important to identify future risks as well and plan for the future. So I get just to understand the next slide. So these two, other than the visible barriers, there's two invisible barriers when you are with MSA and you start having problems with balance. One is what we call highway. So those spaces in the living, those spaces that are too wide, even corridors are too wide. So we found it's important to be able to navigate, helping yourself with the close proximity of walls or grab rails or furniture even. So reduce the size of the width, reducing the width of your path of travel. So those highways where there were it could be difficult to navigate, like this in this image, two wider corridors where you can tumble and you can fall, so you can trip over. The other is the junctions where you want to go from one space to another, and the houses are not ready for that, and you have doors and you have a lot of things happening. So it's very uncomfortable, and you can get tired with MSA. It's a busy area. So having said that, let's start with one of the journeys. So the journey is from the street. The first one would be from the street, and in many of the houses they have a raised level. So we have first thing that we have is some steps, so that the first journey is from the street coming up to the landing, getting to the lobby, and getting to the master bedroom. That would be a typical easy thing to navigate. But then we start encountering with barriers, which is first the steps. If you can, it depends on the level of mobility that we have, but then the steps is in the red dot is the first hazard, and then we can find when we go up the stairs that we have another step to get in, and also how the door opens is important. And then we have a rack. When our feet is dragging, that's a risk for you could trip over. And then we have another step till we get another rack, and then it's just the first journey to get to our bed. We have three steps with three hazards, and then another two with the racks, as you can see here. So what can we do about it? So if we tackle the stairs, there's two solutions. The first one will be looking to getting a handrail on one of the sides, so we can keep ourselves doing some, this small exercise that amount, so we can keep ourselves a little bit active if we can. So there's two solutions. One will be handrail, but I would say you need two handrails if the stairs are very wide, so you can actually grab on both sides. Or option two, when we are not mobile anymore and we're in a wheelchair, that's a mechanic platform or a lift, but that's a bit more expensive. Those are the two options. And once we get up into this landing, we walk up the stairs. We would need to get some grab rail just to get to keep our balance. And these little things that you can do here in these examples, the door handle is on the wrong side as well. So this, I just want everyone to start thinking about how can we make, you know, these little small things that can make our life easier and avoid the risk of fall. So you would take the handle to the other side if you can, um, uh, just to keep yourself as independent as possible. And then you need another grab rail, or we don't wanna the house to look very institutional, like a the hospital, but there is elements, you know, that can look like timber. This is a lot of solutions in the market that look very nice. But the idea is the path of travel is getting easier. So you get grab rail on both sides of the threshold of the entry gate. Then you can navigate uh, the corridor. Maybe you need a handrail here, or maybe not. But then around every threshold, or you I recommend to get grab rails, so, and remove all racks. So that would be step one, and that could last for that solution. It will be useful for a long time. There's other things. So that once they got you get they get to we got to the master bedroom, and I just gonna this is not we're not gonna get into a lot of detail, but it would be good to check, you know, the one of the other core needs or the comfort of the room, because in this case it was oriented to the north, which, you know, once you do all this effort to get to your room and it's cold and you don't have a view to anything, that's not very nice, and that's not worth the effort. So I'll explain what we did with her room. But yeah, just check solar to your room if you know it's a place that you want to be in really, or and check view lines so you have access to nature. So every little um, battle that you win is a big win. So another journey, once you get in your bedroom, another journey will be, you know, how you need to go to the bathroom, and that's you get a bathroom next to you and it's adapted, is great. But if you don't, because MSA comes uninvited, so this is what you need to do to navigate that. This is what she needed to do, just to go from the master bedroom to the bathroom, which is really far away. So at the very beginning was okay, but then we started she started having concerns and problems getting there. So if we want to identify, we can identify those hazards. So first the rack, then the corridor. The corridor is too wide. Then it's also a potential hazard as well. The highway as I was talking about before. So it's a couple of those. The distance as well. The distance is another factor because you can get tired, you know, especially when you are at stage 3 of MSA. And then you get to the bathroom, there's another different level of complexity, because, you know, once you get there, so you find that it's hard to sit down because the toilet is very low, the standard toilet, or the bathtub. Now you need a lot of help. So what we're trying to avoid is to get um, to complicate our lives when you are with MSA. Also, sleep the flow could be slippery as well. So we want to break those barriers. So for instance, this is a lovely bathroom, but it doesn't work when you have MSA, unfortunately, because, you know, the toilet is not raised. And there's no way you can get into the bathtub in and out comfortably. So yeah, those, even though it looks very nice, doesn't really work for MSA. So what solution? What is the solution? So I would check first if the corridor's got 1 meter, typically will be 1 meter or wide. And again, as two elements to the width of the corridor, and then getting the grab rails where you need them. So in this journey, there's this corner, which is a challenge and an opportunity as well. So this is what we call the junction. The junction is where there's a lot of things happening. It's difficult. So if you're walking with a walking aid or with a cane, so are you gonna use your left hand, your right hand? Open the door, close the door. So it's just a lot of things happening. So in this case, from the bedroom, so you will need a grab rail on both sides. I recommend to choose one of the walls to focus on getting the grab rail that we need, so we can walk along that wall, and then once you get to the junction, if it's a configuration like this, it's got some length to go from one place to another. Just think about the junctions and opportunity to sit down as well. So get to make a nice space. So get a chair that is appropriate. Maybe you can sit down for a while and then catch our breath and keep going. So we go along this wall. In this case, could be one of those. Check the width again and get grab rails close to where the doors are. Actually, in case they are open or closed. Obviously, if we got if we are in a wheelchair, that's a different scenario. And then once we get into the bathroom, so this is the original bathroom. So we have bathtub, the toilet, and the floor could be slippery or not. But there's just three barriers. So what can we do? It doesn't. I mean, there's a photo of this is an accessible bathroom where you get this raised. This is shower. It doesn't need to be like that. These aids in the market that you can put to help with raising the toilet and with the grab rails. There's a lot of solutions, but I think here we bring it to just to discuss the principle. So a raised toilet is kind of a must. Is to sit down and get up with around 200 mils, 300 mils. That would be fine. Then have a grab rail next to it. Then get the bathtub into a shower. Get a seat in the shower as well, and a grab rail, at least one or two. And then you're looking at the future, and then you want to think about having a wheelchair. So check that you have enough space when you are reconfiguring the bathroom. Yeah, but this could be one of the main accessible solution. There's another. So what happened? Because there's a little bit of money to put into that. So what we did, it was a bit different. We found another room as a bedroom to tick all the boxes that it was adapted. It had enough comfort. It was more connected. This is what we did, because then you need to consider where you're going to put your money, right? In this slide, well, yeah, as I was saying, we considered that was too far, to do it every day as the body decays. Then, yeah, that was a bit of a journey. So we took another approach after a while, possibly after 3 years. So this big lobby, and this is something that this is thinking outside of the box. So we could find a room that is, in this case, was oversized lobby, and to to create a better environment, which everything is at hand, like a mini granny flat. So we this is another room with the right solar orientation, with access to visual access to nature. Kind of a dream room, but it's a bit bigger. So this landing, which was a wasted space, or say it was a risk, or we took it to, or negative, we took it, turned it into a positive. So we did like a small outdoor area, fully close to her bedroom. So we created, or we built up a small bathroom, like very accessible, so very close. But it's another with the toilet, and actually from the bed she could see the toilet. And there's studies that you can see your toilet, you are less inclined to go more time to the toilet. That's so creating a space now that we had in this situation where we don't want to spend the money. We want to adapt the existing bathroom, or we can actually with the same, for the same price almost, we can have another bathroom more adapted. So, and then all the aids, like a rail in the right locations, and even change the door opening, and adapting everything around this, so we could enhance her mobility. That was the solution that we thought that was the best, and it worked beautifully. So, but that's I guess that's another option. When it comes to all the journeys, for instance, for the from the master to the living, so bathroom aside, this coming back to the same hazards that, or risks that I was discussing, or the living to the kitchen, there is this concept of a highway that I was commenting on. So other than the junctions, we have spaces that are very difficult to navigate if we want to create a path of travel. So in this case, we had a living area, which is was very grand, but but it was difficult it's difficult for someone with MSA, because you need to go from one place to another, and then you can tumble because there's no place to hold on to. So first thing is a couple of ideas is what I suggest is to create this path of travel 1 meter away, playing with furniture. So we don't need to spend a lot of money. We just need to plan for it. And for instance, from her room here, take remove all the racks, so there's no risk for tripping over. So get the grab rail, and then we introduce like a little coffee area or coffee table with the sofa, of the likes of this, maybe a little bit longer, so sturdy enough, so it's not gonna move when you hold on to it. So this is 1 meter path of travel, so you can get from one place to another. And then you can reconfigure the living area with the same idea. So just get furniture as close as 1 meter, create that path of travel, so you can actually navigate that. Now, obviously, we need adequate chairs and grab rails in strategic locations, and that worked pretty well too. A configuration could be like this. So you go from one piece of furniture to another. I mean, it's not perfect in all this photo, but this could be Right? As long as we have those distances in mind, that's good enough. And then, yeah, from the accessible point of view on physically, that's the part of the presentation. So this from a technological point of view, Belén, over to you.
Yeah, let's now take a look at how we can turn a regular home into a smart MSA adapted living space. We begin with the main entrance. A smart lock lets you open the door without keys, using your phone, your fingerprint, or even your voice. Motion sensors can turn on lights automatically when someone enters, helping with mobility or vision. And a video doorbell allows caregivers to monitor the entrance remotely. Next, please. Yeah. And now we can see here smart windows and blinds. These systems can be open and closed with a simple command from your phone or with your voice. This is great for people with limited mobility. And we can also add daylight sensors that follow the natural rhythm of the day, letting in morning light or blocking heat during the afternoon. Next, please. Lighting plays a key role in safety and comfort. When with motion activated lights, people with MSA don't need to reach for switches. The light turns on when someone enters a room. We can also use smart bulbs that follow daily routines, for example, brighter in the morning and darker in the evening. And finally, a night path lighting can help to prevent falls and support better orientation when moving around. Temperature and air quality are really important for comfort and health. A smart thermostat let us set the temperature in each room using an app or voice control. We also can use air quality sensors. If the air is too dry, humid, or not clean, we get alerts and ventilation can start automatically. And all these systems can work together with a smart HVAC system, so everything is managed without physical efforts.
And finally, I think that's this is a checklist that we prepare for everyone to assess the level of adaptive design, comfort, and connectivity. So again, we went through this before, so we will provide this checklist for everyone. Yeah, so they can assess their own environment and understand what's hopefully understand this webinar has been useful for everybody to understand what can they do from a adaptation adaptive design perspective, and the things, these small hints that hopefully they're going to be useful for everyone. And obviously we're here to help as well. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you so much.
Ella, over to you. Yeah. Should I stop sharing?
You can leave your screen up. Yeah, you're good. Thank you both so much for that presentation. I know it was really, really helpful for a lot of folks. If anyone has any questions you'd like to go ahead and submit now, feel free to do that and we can try to get to a couple of those. It looks like we don't have a ton of questions. as of now, but let me go ahead and ask you guys. We do have a question about, how does insurance factor in covering like the various devices and things that you talked about? So I don't know if that's something you could speak to at all.
Probably not in the United States environment. It depends on the country. For instance, in my experience in New Zealand, that's very accessible. So the government provides those aids. And Australia is a bit different as well. So I guess it depends on where you live and the Medicare, how what's the reach of Medicare when it comes down to those aids. I guess the it's two things. And when we were talking about grab rails, and those are less or very cost effective solutions, or the furniture, or getting rid of of racks on barriers. When it comes to rebuilding a bathroom, that's a different story. So yeah, that's I think this is where we need to be really wise about what are the challenges now, and then what do we need to cater for in the future. So there's some expense, yeah, when bathrooms and kitchens, those are this is the big expense, and there's not much, unfortunately, not much help from government in any case, or in any country in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that answer. Um, Another question for you is, can you address at all the merits of like a stair glide chairlift versus a wheelchair lift for interior stairs in a two-story home for someone with MSA?
The chairlift or lift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're asking
um
a stair glide chairlift or versus a wheelchair lift.
I think, well, I believe that probably a wheelchair lift will cater better for a future stage, if you wanna uh, spend, yeah, if we wanna put the money in one of those, yeah, I will definitely go for it, wheelchair lift. Yeah.
Mm. And then would you recommend a carpet versus wood flooring? Like what would you say is best?
I'd say a carpet. I'd say wood flooring. As long as it depends on, um, it depends on the quality. Actually, you just need to make sure that the wood flooring, if it's, I mean, if it's natural timber flooring, they just need to make sure that there's no imperfections on it. Um, so we want to avoid our feet to trip over, um, and where the rack is, when you drag your feet, the rack is, sorry, the carpet is definitely gonna, um, have some friction there. So I would just go for with a smoother timber flooring, but not slippery.
Mm, gotcha. Thank you. Just for time's sake, we're just going to take one more question. But so, final question for you. Do you have any tips for creating a space that's good for interacting with visitors?
Um, well, yes. The tips would be that the space, you need to think about the person with MSA, if it's still mobile, how they can place the furniture on the aids in a way that they can be independent when they're moving around as much as possible. So make the space as easy as possible for you, and think about what you're going to do, when you have visitors. So you all these little journeys, and just maybe if you can visualize how the interaction with visitors will be. So do I need to go to the kitchen? Do I need to go to the toilet? Do I need to welcome them from the door? So getting things organized in a way that the journey is easy, and get everything ready in terms of furniture, so that path of travel is easy to navigate, and that so you don't find yourself in difficult situations where you need a lot of help. That's because that's going to impact your you feel a little bit uncomfortable. If you need help from family as well, as you get everything ready, because that's a big thing. What I found, you want to present yourself as as independent as possible, or organize things that you need help. You have everything ready. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think
I
that's
mean,
really
I guess every case is different, but yeah, those are the principles, I'd say.
for sure. Yeah, I think that's really helpful. Um, well, I think that's all of our questions for today. Thank you both so much for answering those and for the presentation. I know a lot of folks are going to find that really helpful, so thank you.
Oh, thank you very much
Thank
to you and
It's been
MSA.
a pleasure.
Of course,
And
yeah. Well, to those of you watching, just a reminder, we did record today's presentation and we will be uploading it to the resource library on our website, and we'll also be sending that out to you all in case you want to look back at anything or share it with anyone. And then before you jump off, I am going to send out a really quick survey just with 2 questions for you to answer, just with your feedback about today's presentation to help us kind of plan future webinars. So if you wouldn't mind answering that before you jump off, then we'll see you all next time. And thank you both again.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ella.
Mm-hmm.